So we were talking Spurs, weren't we, before the break? You were waxing lyrical about Ange Postecoglou.
Yep.
Just got me thinking, Darren, has the start of this season altered who you think might finish in the top four? Now, we must mention and must say that this is a game changer, really. There's a very, very, very strong chance there will be 5 teams qualifying for the Champions League next season due to the coefficients. Now, I don't think many people this time last month would have given Spurs a chance of coming in the top 4, which now could be a top 5. Even think you said that yourself, didn't you, before the break?
Yep.
Given that it is going to be a 5, given that you've started the season off very well, and given the fact that things don't seem that rosy at Manchester United, don't seem that rosy at Chelsea, is now Champions League football next season for Spurs a real genuine possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. Spurs go to Sheffield United next. They play Sheffield United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You'd expect Spurs to win that. You would. And it could be famous last words. We know that. You could get all this Spursy back doing well and then they lose to a promoted team. Then the 2 big games. You've got Arsenal away, then you've got Liverpool at home. That will tell you where Spurs are, I think. That could be, if they... we beat Manchester United, which was a good result, albeit Manchester United not on great form currently. If you lose those two games, people are going to say, well, you're beating the teams you should and you're losing to the teams again. You're just the bully boys of the division in terms of beating the lower teams in the division. But I've recently done a predictor, the full league, and my top 5... City, Liverpool.
Above Arsenal, in that order?
Yeah, in this order. Okay. City, Liverpool, Spurs.
You are joking me.
Arsenal.
Oh.
Newcastle. That's my top 5.
Well, was that before the season or just now?
This was before the season started.
You must be... And did you put Spurs above Arsenal as banter?
No.
Because you're a Spurs fan? Or because you actually genuinely thought that?
I just looked at it and I thought Spurs, with no European football...
Yeah, no Carabao Cup distraction.
...has got an opportunity. At the time, Kane was still at the football club, though, which that doesn't change anything now. It would have done. If I had done this predictor when he left, I'd have put him a bit lower. But, yeah, the 3rd above Arsenal.
So you think Spurs are stronger than Arsenal?
No, I don't think...
Do you think they're going to come above them?
I think they'll come above them. I don't think they're stronger. I just think that Arsenal are competing in 4 trophies at the moment. Spurs are 2.
But I think Arsenal have built a squad now, a little bit like Man City, where you go through that whole squad, near enough, I'd say, in every possession, they have got 2 world-class players. I think Arteta's built a squad that is ready to compete on all fronts.
Yep, I think along with everyone, a few injuries could cause issues.
Spurs, though, couldn't you?
I was just going to come to that as well. I think Spurs... The difference is a few injuries at Spurs could be a disaster. A few injuries at Arsenal is poor. It could be a minor blip.
They've really got one, haven't they? The new centre-back.
But there's more chance of injuries occurring with the amount of games Arsenal have got than the amount of games the Spurs have got. I haven't changed my opinion. Now, 4 games in, the only thing I'm concerned about is Spurs have had this unbelievable start, playing Ange ball, free-flowing, everyone loves it. Unbeaten, 10 points. Arsenal not really started, not playing too well, unbeaten, 10 points. That's a bit concerning because they will start soon. Look, these predictors always come back to haunt me. I think number 1 won't. I think Man City will win the league again. Sure. I think that won't come back to haunt me. The rest of them do. I put, was it Werner once I put as a top goal scorer in the league, and that came back to haunt me, I tell you that.
How's he getting on these days?
Yeah, I know, but I put Haaland last season. That was the obvious one. Yeah. But yeah, Man City, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Newcastle. I've got the full 20. I've got the full 20 predictor.
We'll just do top 4, top 5 for the moment. So then just on Arsenal then, again, I know obviously you're a Spurs fan, so there's a bit of banter here, but just with your pundit head on, do you think they're going to struggle with top 4 football? They haven't had European football, Champions League football for a long time. Do you think sort of that Wednesday, midweek, weekend schedule, it could really harm them in the league, do you think?
It could affect them, yes. Look, they've got Saka, which is an unbelievable player. We know that. He struggled in the game against Ukraine, I think. He's played so much football. That's concerning.
He broke a record, didn't he, recently, for most consecutive games for Arsenal?
You think... If you're in the Champions League, and I said this about Newcastle as well, if you're in the Europa League or the Europa Conference, you can afford to play your second-string team, so you can rest a few players. In the Champions League, you can't. You have to play your best team because you want to get as far up as forward as that. In the Cups, they love to have a cup run. You know that. Mikel Arteta will go out to win everything. So there's not many opportunities that you can rest players, whereas Spurs are not in the League Cup anymore. So they've just got league until the FA Cup comes out. And by all accounts, Daniel Levy's said that Champions League football is the most important thing. So I can also see a few changes being made in the FA Cup in terms of Spurs. So I'm never really a reactive pundit in terms of I would support Spurs, but I don't go against Arsenal. Last season, I praised them up because I thought they were fantastic. Went toe to toe.
That's why I'm saying I think it's a really big shout for you.
Yeah, I just. And
that's before a ball's been kicked. Before. Okay, if I'm going to put
this is potentially my that there was potentially my Spurs head, and because I had to release this online as well. I didn't want to put Arsenal above Spurs, but after 4 games, I'm not really changing my opinion.
I'm going to put you on the complete spot here. Some people don't like doing these, but genuinely, how many Spurs players get into that Arsenal 11, strongest 11?
I think Maddison gets in.
What, instead of Odegaard as the 10? Really?
Yeah.
Odegaard.
I think Maddison's arguably the best player in the Premier League at the moment. We're talking current form,
I love James Maddison, and honestly, I promise you, I think he could go down as signing of the summer. I think he's brilliant. I think Odegaard's perhaps one of the best in the world.
We're talking current form, surely. Current form, Maddison goes in above Odegaard.
You think
on current
you'd have
form.
Maddison, so you wouldn't swap Odegaard
last season,
Maddison.
Odegaard, of course.
Yeah.
But current form this season, the way Maddison's going, Maddison's one of 3 players since the start of last season that scored 10 and assisted 10.
I promise you, I love Maddison. I just think
Odegaard isn't one of the others.
Odegaard
Saka and Salah.
Odegaard for a good few years at Arsenal has been an absolute genius in that 10 role.
I agree.
Consistently
and
outstanding.
The end of the season, that my opinion could have changed dramatically. I'm talking on current form. James Maddison is flying. He is. And Odegaard's not really started yet. He's doing okay, but he's not really started yet compared to the last few seasons. So current form,
so Maddison
I'd say
over Odegaard.
I'd put Romero in.
Okay. There's not many. That's why I'm asking. There's not many, is there?
Udogie gets in, I think, on current form as well.
Zinchenko?
Yeah, but he's not really been playing much as he's been injured.
No, but if you're creating the strongest 11, though, great start, but are you really putting him already ahead of Zinchenko? Already?
It's been a good start.
In that front 3, Saka,
I forgot he was at Spurs when he went on loan.
Saka, Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli? Who's getting in? Any Spurs or Saka's getting in? Son over Martinelli? There's
an argument with Son and Martinelli. Martinelli, I think's a fantastic footballer, Martinelli. But there's, again,
Son, yeah.
Current form. Son's just got a hat-trick. Last season, I'd say no Spurs players bar Kane gets in that team. None of them.
Yeah, that was fair.
This season, a few.
Okay,
so how I've put Spurs above them, I don't know.
I think kind of by luck it might end up
the
going
subs
okay.
are good for Spurs.
I want to talk Manchester United with you because I thought as if they had a really good first season under Erik Ten Hag. They came top 4.
Yeah.
I think domestically that was best case scenario. There's no way they were going to win the league. They got to 2 finals. They won a cup. I think they got off to a good first season. 4 games into this season, it seems as if a lot of people have gone the other way. Look, don't get me wrong. Only 6 points, and they're probably quite lucky to have 6 points. They shouldn't have beaten Wolves, and they got lucky against Forest.
Yep.
But now I'm hearing a lot of people going, is Erik Ten Hag all that? His signings aren't that good. Players aren't improving. Where do you stand on this? I think he's taken some harsh criticism, Mr. Erik Ten Hag.
I'm 50-50 on it, to be honest. I do agree.
Off the fence, Darren, please.
Yeah, I struggle with this one. I do agree. He's had a lot to put up with off-field. I think he's handled most of it fantastically. The Cristiano Ronaldo situation, handled it brilliantly, the way he's done that.
He got a lot of respect and love.
Yeah, and I think that's given him time in the bank, the way he's handled that. The off-field in terms of the takeover, he's handled that really well. It must be frustrating for him. He's letting them, but he's still getting backed. He's still signing players. He's signing players for a lot of money as well. But we still don't really know where Manchester United are as a team. Have they improved dramatically than when they were with Ollie? I don't know.
I think they're a better team than the team.
I think they're a better team, but are they doing much more? They're playing better football. I agree with that. They've got better players. It's not quite clicking this season. Watch them against Spurs. The 3 midfield of Mount, Casemiro and Fernandes got bullied.
That's the one, isn't it? He's got to sort that midfield.
Yeah.
That midfield
but he's
away
tried.
to one of the... Well, maybe...
Those 3 we're talking about, Mount, Casemiro and Fernandes, that should be one of the best 3 in the division. It should be. It potentially will be as well. But Sarr and Basuma, 2 young players for Spurs, bullied them off the park.
They were outstanding, weren't
Against
they?
Wolves, you're right. Wolves should have had something out of that game. Bullied them in the midfield. And that's... People are going to come to Old Trafford, they're going to play Manchester United away and think, if we get into them in the middle, we could win this game. That needs to be sorted.
I wonder whether Amrabat comes into that midfield to maybe give a little bit more muscle and energy. And as well, I know he came off the bench, but Højlund hadn't started a game yet. And all of a sudden, things could look a lot different if they got the big lad up front.
I feel for Højlund, to be honest,
goals.
because there's so much pressure on him in terms of he's the saviour. When he returns, he's the player he's our Haaland. He's United's Haaland. I don't think he's going to score a load of goals.
Well, they take half the goals of
they
Haaland,
would.
They might take a third of the goals.
What did he get? I think he's only ever got 9 in a season last season.
It's massive money, isn't it?
But what he can bring, and I've seen enough clips of him, he can bring players. You put Rashford back onto the left and he can bring him into play and he'll hold the ball up. He will get him behind. He'll score goals. I think he'll get 15 to 20 goals for sure.
You said to me earlier you fear for Arsenal now playing midweek football with Champions League. One of your former clubs haven't had that luxury for a long, long time, have they? Newcastle United. A tricky start to the league campaign, albeit against some tough fixtures. Yep. The Champions League is returning. This time next week it's back. But you've still got them, haven't you, in your top 5?
Yes.
Do you fear a little bit for Newcastle at all? No.
No. I think they were successful last season. I think overachieved last season, in my opinion. I think Eddie Howe done a remarkable job. And you are right. If you look at the start they've had, it's arguably the hardest start of anyone in the division. When you look, they come up against Aston Villa first, and that hurt them. Winning 5-1 hurt them because everyone's like, wow, Newcastle are flying already. And then they lose to Man City. Liverpool. The Man City one, I think, would have been the most disappointing because they didn't lay a glove.
Didn't really give them a go,
They didn't lay a glove on Man City.
And even Liverpool one with 10 men, they should have finished that game off, shouldn't they?
Yep, they done it last season, didn't they? I think it was Carvalho scored in the last kick in the 97th minute against Liverpool. And they done it again. 2 quick goals, Nunez. Absolutely brilliant. And then Brighton, who are flying high. They've got some games coming up. Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley. That's the next 3 league games. But it's sandwiched into the Champions League. And I think they'll do all right. I still think they'll be top 5 in the division for sure. And if he gets top 5, if he gets out of the group in that Champions League as well, it's been successful.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.